Hello viewers, in today's video we are going to talk about a very important term, or you can say a very important issue when we are working with the cloud, okay, in case of the IMS design. Okay, so the first and foremost, the basic task is to log in if you have registered. So already in our last video we saw how to register for the IMS Design Cloud, and now here are some of the important information. For example, the My Projections. So in the My Projection you have to click, usually if you are working since long. For example, if I click on a year, so it will show you all my tasks that I have done earlier, or if I'm putting for just for a week or 1 month, okay, so it will show you all the project that you have done earlier. Now there is a term which is called new projections, so Hydra Cap Max RO and Hydra Cap Max RO. So these are the features for the IMS Design software. So these are the improved features for the IMS Design Cloud. For example, if you click on the new projections, and then so usually you get three options. So Hydra Cap Max, so usually Hydra Cap Max is going to tell you about the ultrafiltration membrane simulator, and then you have to do enter just a few inputs. The simulator provide the detailed process and complete designing with the compact graphical process sequence diagram as we saw earlier. Okay, so these are some of the inputs you will do, and you will get a diagram. For example, if I say this one client name, for example IAU, okay, and then for example the design volume, for example I put 10, then I would say calculate design. So based on my design it will give you the diagram, okay, and for example I go to the dashboard again. If I say I don't want to save, then we have the again the sum of the few options. For example, if I click on the Hydra Cap Max row, so this gives me the advanced version where you can customize and do a lot of settings. Now for example, we have here the IMS design options. Okay, so if you want to change some settings, you can save. And here there is one of the options which tells me about the water chemistry. So here are some information about the different water types, different ions. Okay, now for the design guidelines for the RO, so this is going to tell you the about the upper limit and lower limit for certain parameters. For example, average flux, what should be the membrane flux. Now when we say flux, the word flux basically means here the daily or hourly water flow through a membrane surface area. So usually we calculate the flux in terms of GPD per feet square. So here GPD means gallons per day, per feet square. The area here we are taking in terms of feet, and the treated water that passes through the permeate. So this is called the flux. Okay, and the usually when we say high flux, so it means high flux means higher, higher pores, and that will allow the diffusion of great amount of, you can say, the pollutant. And the flux range for a membrane is usually, for practical applications, lies between 50 and 200 GFT, and the operating pressure is about 50 psig. And for reverse osmosis, that lies between 10 to 30 GFT. And for calculating the membrane flux, we have to divide the permeate flow rate upon the membrane area. So whatever permeate flow rate you are putting, you will divide by the area. Now there are certain more important things. For example, I'll go back to the analysis window. Now this is all about the new features in IMS Design Cloud. For example, what is the rejection of an organic compound? For example, if you have TOC, BOD, what are the conductivity options? What are the elements? For example, elements, there are a wide array like CPA, ESPA, ESNA, SWC. Some of them are low fouling, some of them are high fouling membranes. And for example, if you want to have the membranes with 20% lower than previous one, so you will use CPA7. For example, if you have the brackish water, so these are LFCs. And for example, if you want to have sodium 10% higher than the previous one, so that case CPA, ESBA. So every element is used specifically in different classifications. Some of them are used at different flow rate. For example, ESNELF LD4040. This is a 4-inch element which is at 1900 GPD. Then we have other features here. Now for other useful settings. So this is my dashboard. So we'll go back to the dashboard again. So here we have the term which is called quick design. This is very important. I tried to dig myself and find it here. For example, now here it gives you a very quick solution. For example, what is the water source? For example, this is sea well, and what do you want? You want to do the pre-treatment as conventional, or you want to use the ultrafiltration membrane or MF membrane? What is the flow rate, for example? Now this gives you a limit. So what values, for example, if I put here, okay, now if your numbers are not lying between the range, so this will not go. So it gives you a value lower and higher. And what is it? Now it says the number should be between these and these for the option that we chose. Okay, now the permeate radius, for example, we want 1000, and the temperature that we want. Now after entering these values, we will submit and see what membrane they are suggesting for the type, for the inputs that we entered. So you can see here the required membrane flux is 10 GFT, and recovery is 80%, and proposed membrane area is 440 feet square, and estimated membrane quantity is 7. And for example, for the input type that we entered, they suggested these kind of membrane. For example, we choose this one, and then we can see its specification here. Okay, so this gives me the specification of the membrane, the recovery, the test conditions, and the geometry of the membrane. Okay, and its use and restrictions, at what pressure it can work, and what is the maximum chlorine concentrations. This gives me the quick design concept that I never found in any of the videos. So this is all about the cloud working and the way it can be customized and the way it can be used.